WHCS Channel 29 presents Peninsula District Girls Basketball.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
The Hampton Crabbers versus the Lafayette Rams. From Hampton High School, this is Tim Cole with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble. We welcome you to our telecast tonight of the girls' game between the Hampton Crabbers, coming to the game 8-7 in the district, 9-9 overall. And they'll be facing the Lafayette Ram girls team, who are 10-5 in the district and 11-9 overall. And we're having the introduction of the starting lineups. First lady being introduced is Tanya Jackson. The next one out is a Tony Jackson, number 12.
Number 21,
Seiko Russell, number 14 is another starter. 21 is Tara Jimerson. And number 24, Teresa Tabb, rounding out the starting five for the visiting Rams of Lafayette.
The coaches, Tim, are Christy Vetta and Gary Spedden.
And as I mentioned, in the standings,
now here
they
the starting lineups for the
are just ahead of Hampton.
Hampton, Lane Crabb.
They're in fourth place. Hampton is in
Number
fifth.
52, Dana Galbraith.
Number 52, Goldbreath is starting tonight,
Number
Tim.
14, Sandra Thompson.
Number 14, Sandra Thompson.
Number 34, Ramona Gray.
Ramona Gray, number 34.
Number 24, Anissa Jones.
24, Nessa Jones.
And number 50, Cheyenne Hill.
And Cheyenne Hill, number 50. And, of course, they're coached by Ivory Knight
And the Lady Crabbers
and
are
assisted
coached
by
Ms.
Art
Ivory
Jones.
Knight, assisted by Mr. Arthur Jones.
We had hoped to get a chance to talk to the opposing coaches. Unfortunately, our time frame didn't work out quite right.
No,
So
it didn't tonight. We have the officials, Tim. We have Betty Lewis and Ed Freeman. And I made a certain point, and I told them, I said, now we're going to point you out by that Ed has the mustache.
That's right.
Okay?
This should be difficult to determine.
And that definitely is not Ed. That was Betty. Because I told him that's the way we always do it.
And
I
Betty,
learned that from
Betty
you.
does not have a mustache. We want to make that perfectly clear.
But he said something about having a barber that was close to yours. There you go. It's a good shot of.
I think he works out at the same gym I do, too. All right, we're about set to go. The homestanding Hampton Crabbers in the red pants and the white jerseys. Lafayette in the blue and the gold. And Lafayette controls the opening tap. This game on paper is a toss-up. Both teams are very equal in their records. Ball is knocked away, retrieved by Lafayette, an air ball put up, partially blocked, and finally controlled by Cheyenne Hill of Hampton.
And we got to see number 34 last week for the Crabbers. She was very instrumental in their team, Ramona Gray. In fact, when she was in foul trouble is when Hampton really lost the lead and ended up losing that game, which was a real close game that we saw last week with the Denby Patriots.
On the turnover, Lafayette brings the ball down. Shot put up, and we have our first whistle of the ball game. And a foul will be charged against the Crabbers. This one will be on Galbraith, number 52 of Hampton. That is her first, the team's first. Stepping to the free throw line will be Seiko Russell, number 14. Just underway from the Hampton gym. There are 4 8-minute quarters in high school basketball. Her first shot off to the left. 7:25 remaining in the first quarter. Ed Freeman hands Seiko Russell the ball for shot number 2. There you see a good shot of Miss Russell. And she has a better rotation on the ball this time, but still the same result as it hits the front of the rim. And then we've got a jump ball. No, we have a foul. This is going to be charged to Ramona Gray, number 34 of Hampton. So Hampton quickly gets 2 team fouls. This will be a player control foul as it occurred before a shot was taken. Lafayette will inbounds.
And the Hampton are playing man-to-man, Tim.
Anissa Jones stole it momentarily, but it was restolen by Lafayette, and a jump ball ensues. Tanya Jackson had gotten that ball. The arrow of possession, which is a high school rule, is in effect for the Hampton Crabbers, so they'll get it. We still have no score. There is no shot clock in high school ball. You don't have to get your shot off in any particular time frame, but you must cross the 10-second midcourt timeline. That's the only time factor involved.
Well, Hampton has got to attempt a field goal.
Of course, the other time factor involved, as mentioned last week, is that if you're closely guarded within a certain period of time, you must throw the ball or shoot. Rebound comes off for Lafayette. Still no score. 12-footer put in by number 24, Teresa Tabb of Lafayette, and they take the lead 2-0. Lost at the baseline by Ramona Gray. She lost control of the dribble. Now Hampton's going to have a substitution. Coming into the ball game is Audrina Whitehead, number 40, and she'll replace Galbraith. I believe Whitehead started last week.
She did. She was one of the starters. In fact, she averages about 10 points a game. I don't know what's the reason that they were not starters tonight. There's a couple of them that were starters last week that are not starting tonight. But Hampton just has trouble getting the ball across and setting up any kind of offense. They have yet to get in any type of pattern or even attempt a field goal. All the action has been down at the Lafayette end of the court.
Teresa Tabb gets the first of two. She was fouled by Ramona Gray, and that is the second on Gray. She got in foul trouble last week against Denby, and that did hurt her team's cause down the stretch. Tabb completes the free throws. She's got 4 points. Her team leads 4-0. Full court man-to-man pressure being applied by the Rams. Gray guarded closely.
Excuse me, Tim. Hampton will try to get the ball inside because that's their offense. Try to get inside to their big people. Punch that ball inside is what they try to do.
Lafayette disputing, or I should say at least the coach for Lafayette disputing the possession of the ball, but the referee, Ed Freeman, distinctly indicates that it's Hampton's ball. Audrina Whitehead passes off.
Nice pass.
Vivian Moss, who just checked in the ball game for Hampton, gets her team on the scoreboard. And it's 4-2 Lafayette. A little more than 2 minutes gone here in the first quarter. And a foul. And this will be a foul on Hampton. This will be Audrina Whitehead, who will be charged for the personal, her first, the team's fourth. So Hampton quickly getting themselves in a bit of foul trouble here.
And it's to do with the aggressiveness of the Hampton girls. They are really going after the Lafayette Rams, and in doing so, they're committing some real silly fouls at this point.
Knocked out of bounds by Hampton. Still belongs to the Rams of Lafayette. Our first opportunity to see Lafayette this year. In this, the final regular season game for both teams. And another foul. The shot taken just inside the free throw line. And this will be foul number 2 on Audrina Whitehead, and that'll be team number 5 against Hampton.
And I know that Ivory Knight is feeling a little bit snake bit over there on the sideline. Every time she turns around, there's a whistle being blown. There's been a foul called on one of the Crabbers.
But you know, in all honesty, I haven't seen a cheap foul yet. Every one of those fouls has been a good call, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
They have really been, you know, you watch here on the replay, you'll see that Audrina Whitehead will come over and she will make definite contact with the shooter.
Oh, and by the way, we want to say welcome back to Joe B. Lewis. Our slow-mo man. We missed him.
Joe who?
He was down there in
Cajun country.
Cajun country. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, is that adjective.
Yeah, just came back from New Orleans. Lafayette, traveling call will be made against Lafayette.
That was an obvious travel call that time.
4-2 Lafayette, a slow start to this ball game. 5:17 left in the first. Neither team really getting untracked. Hampton, in less than 3 minutes, has picked up 5 team fouls, while Lafayette has yet to commit a foul. Anissa Jones passing underneath for Whitehead. It's picked off by the Rams. Number 24, Teresa Tabb, stepped in front of that pass. Back come the Lafayette team. Looking inside, they find Tabb. She loses it. It was last touched by a Hampton player.
Both teams are very aggressive with their defense. Oh, a nice steal.
Ramona Gray, good play by Ramona Gray as she knocked the ball loose, chased it down, and then stopped in her tracks to put in an easy layup.
She had to gather herself. If she hadn't, she would not have made the shot.
We're tied at 4 with 4:37 to go here in the first. Ball knocked away, back come the Crabbers. A 2-on-1, and this one too tall for Anissa Jones. Ivory Knight is, again, giving instructions on the far side. We'll watch the replay. Here you see a good job of Ramona Gray knocking the ball down court. And you watch, she really did a good job. She stopped cold, and if she had not, she might have traveled.
Well, and the other gal that was guarding her kept right on going. She had no idea she was going to put on the brakes and could stop that quick.
Tied at 4. Lafayette works the ball inside. Shot no good, and rebounded by the Crabbers. Cheyenne Hill with the board. This is Ramona Gray as she comes across the timeline. She'll fire. It's an air ball, but it works as good as a pass. As
that
her
hit
teammate,
right off the front of the rim and go right into Whitehead's hands. That was just like a pass, Tim.
Audrina Whitehead gets the garbage. No pun intended, or no slighting of the situation. But that's one of those garbage balls that just kind of falls in your hands and you just put it in. Hampton takes the lead 6-4. Kick it back, put it up, and count it.
Well, there could have been a second called anytime. There were 3 gals in the lane that time, but they were not called.
Seco Russell got the basket, tying the game at 6. And this is Russell again. So she's got 2 baskets very quickly, and her team goes from a 2-point deficit to a 2-point lead. Hampton working against that full court pressure of Lafayette. 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. Pass is too long underneath. It'll belong to Lafayette. And they will bring in number 30, Dion Kennedy. Dion Kennedy in for Lafayette. They look inside for Teresa Tabb, and her indecision causes her to move the pivot foot, and that's a travel according to Ed Freeman. There you see Mr. Freeman, the referee. Hampton almost guilty of taking too much time to inbounds the pass, but they do get it in. This is Vivian Moss looking inside. Her pass to Whitehead is stolen. Good step-in move by Ramona Gray to tip that ball away, and then a foul after the play.
And that's the first time team foul against the Rams.
Substitution for Hampton. Sandra Thompson, number 14, comes in for the Crabbers. There you saw that play I was talking about. There you see the player control foul being charged to Seco Russell, number 14. Anissa Jones off the glass, short. Knocked out of bounds, belongs to Lafayette. Eight to 5 in favor of Lafayette.
I think you mean 8 to 6.
Depends. Oh, okay. Depends on which scoreboard I was looking at.
Well, I thought you were looking at the fouls, team fouls, but
well,
you
know what?
Looking from this thing, the backboard covers that, makes it look like a foul.
You got to remember to look at the right scoreboard. 8 to 6. You're absolutely right.
Well, I knew the Crabbers have yet to shoot a foul shot, so unless they made a three-pointer, they weren't going to have an odd score.
Good point. Tony Jackson steps to the free throw line. She'll be shooting at least the 1-and-1. she'll get the bonus. Lafayette, for the duration of this quarter and all the second quarter, will be in the bonus. Tanya Jackson shows good form at the free throw line. She gets her 2 points, and her team leads by 4, 10-6. Quickly down the court, we've got a whistle before the shot and a foul to be charged against Teresa Tabb. That'll be her first, the team's second.
Well, that's one way to attack this press that the Rams are putting on, is you go over the top of it with a long pass. And that's what Hampton did that time, and should have ended up with a 2-pointer, but she was fouled before she could get the shot off. But that's one way to attack that press.
Again, a player control foul. Just the second foul, or non-shooting foul. Pass goes in for Cheyenne Hill, and the shot doesn't go. Rebounded underneath and put in by Audrina Whitehead. That's her second basket. And it's a 2-point game, 10-8. Lafayette will fire it up. It doesn't go, but the rebound comes off to Lafayette underneath, and then it's knocked out of bounds by Hampton. Audrina Whitehead, last one to touch it for the Crabbers. .150 left here in the first quarter. Jackson's shot is short and rebounded by Ramona Gray of Hampton. Gray putting a good move on Miss Jackson. Alyssa Jones guarded by Tony Jackson. She throws it away, and it's retrieved underneath by Tanya Jackson. And Jackson's everywhere.
Just get the first names right.
That's right.
Nice cross-court pass.
Dion Kennedy puts it off the glass for her first basket, and it's a 4-point Lafayette lead, 12-8. We're down close to a minute to go here in the first quarter. Lost out of bounds, the last touched by Lafayette. Here you watch the replay of moments ago. We watched a good job here of spotting the open player underneath the basket. If this is the play I think it is, yeah. See, good backdoor pass there and an easy kiss off the glass.
It was just somebody just wasn't paying their man, weren't paying attention. You've got to be able to see your man and the ball when you're playing good man-to-man.
That from a former coach of Bethel High School, Bob Hintz. And we've got a double dribble call against Lafayette. 43 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Well, it doesn't look like the Crabbers have really got into the game yet. They don't look like they're in sync at all. And the pressure is no different than what they got against the Denby team. But they really look like they're just a little bit out of sync. They're throwing the ball away an awful lot. An awful lot.
Turnover gives the ball to Lafayette. Half a minute to go here in the first. They lead by 4. And a foul. The shot will count. Good play.
The shot may not have gone in had she not fouled her.
Cheyenne Hill will be charged with her first personal foul. The basket will count for Kim Martin. That's her first shot and her first basket of the ball game, and she'll get a chance to complete a 3-point play.
And there you saw it on instant replay. That was a good job of catching that replay.
Free throw by Martin is no good. Crabbers trailing by 6. 18 seconds to go, and they throw it away again. So the Crabbers off to a shaky start here in the first quarter. They're having some difficulty primarily with their passing. And a traveling call as the ball got tangled up in Kim Martin's feet.
And there are 9 seconds to go. Let's see if the Crabbers are aware of the time on the clock.
Ramona Gray looks down court and then throws the ball right into the hands of Kim Martin. Tony Jackson gets it, tries to hit her teammate underneath, and then a long pass down court.
She was aware of the time. Ramona Gray was.
Just unable to get it to anybody, so the Crabbers playing sporadically here in the first quarter find themselves on the short end of a 14-8 score at the first quarter break. Crabbers had 4 points from Whitehead, who came in off the bench, and 2 points from Moss and Gray to round out their 8 points. The 14 points for Lafayette came from 4 points for Seco Russell, 4 points for Teresa Tabb, 2 points each for Tanya Jackson, Dion Kennedy, and Kim Martin for their 14 points. Peninsula District Tournament getting ready to get underway this coming weekend. This is the last sequence of plays in the first quarter here. You'll see Tony Jackson of Lafayette trying to get the ball inside. Well, this is the play earlier, I should say. This is the one where they got the easy layup.
Yeah, it really was, and that was a good job catching the open man. The Peninsula District, like you say, does start this weekend, and the way it works is the four top seeded teams will play at home and will host the bottom seeded team. And in the girls section, what's really going to happen, in my feeling, is we know that Phoebus Phantoms are going to make it in. They're going to the regionals because they won the regular season. The strongest team is after them is the Menchville Monarchs. And Tim, we'll be able to catch some of that when we do the semis and the finals over to Hampton University. We will not pick up any of the first quarterfinal rounds, from what I'm told.
Tony Jackson gets 1 out of 2 from the free throw line. Lafayette 15-8 now. Second quarter just underway. Coming to you from Hampton High School. This game being played Valentine's Day, 1989. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble on hand to bring you this game. This is the 6th of our regular season basketball games. It's been a pleasure bringing these games to you. Hope that you've enjoyed them. We'd like to hear from you. If you get an opportunity to drop us a line, just give us a holler.
And I see what the Rams are going to spread it out a little, really make the Hampton girls come at them hard. And number 34, if I'm not mistaken, that's 3 on her, Tim, Ramona Gray.
If she was just called for the foul, it sure is 3. So Ivory Knight will have no choice but to, well, she's going to, let's see, is she going to leave her in there?
No, she's coming out.
Yeah, she got her out, and she took Cheyenne Hill out as well. Again to the free throw line, Tony Jackson. She was 1 for 2 the last time she was at the free throw line. And she will get a second try.
Well, she's got a nice touch on that ball, hitting nothing but the bottom of the net. Good rotation.
This one is a little short for Jackson. Lafayette now with a doubling of the Hampton score, and we've got another foul.
And this will be another player control foul to be non-shooting. That's just the 3rd team foul charged against the Lady Rams.
Hampton will inbounds. They have 5 seconds to do so. The ball is knocked out of bounds by Lafayette. Kim Martin went over to hit it out of bounds. It'll still belong to the Crabbers. 16-8, Lafayette on top. Audrina Whitehead trying to get it inside for her teammate Letitia Lee, number 54, who's just come in for the Hampton Crabbers. Kicked out of bounds by Lafayette. They're going around the court trying to get this ball in bounds. Nessa Jones from 17, no good. And Kim Martin rebounds for Lafayette. Quickly down the court, Tony Jackson gets it, stumbles momentarily, then she got the pass on the baseline. Ed Freeman right there to call the play. And it'll belong to the Crabbers. Play sloppy here in the first half. Neither team has really gotten into their rhythm, and now Hampton will be guilty of a 5-second infraction, and the ball will turn over to Lafayette.
Well, Hampton's got to do is set some screens to get somebody open to get the ball in bounds. You can't afford to be giving the Lafayette Rams the ball underneath their basket. You don't even get a chance to take it down and go for a field goal. And they're spreading it out again, running a version of the four corners.
Tony Jackson is hammered as she goes down the lane. This is again on Audrina Whitehead. Watch the replay here. And that is her third as well. That a play a little earlier. Stepping to the free throw line is Tony Jackson. She's 2 for 4 from the free throw line. And she hits nothing but net. So 2 Crabbers are in serious foul problems here. Audrina Whitehead and Ramona Gray, 2 intricate parts of their team, are saddled with 3 personal fouls as Tony Jackson hits both free throws. Cheyenne Hill will come back in for the Crabbers, as will Teresa Tabb for Lafayette. Speaking of Tabb, I guess you saw, Bob, where Terry Kirby has agreed and signed a letter of intent to attend UVA.
Yeah, and I'm real happy about that. Some guy was asking me first of the week who I thought he would go with, and I really thought he would go with UVA because they've got an excellent football program, but they also have an excellent basketball program. Some of the schools he talked to did not want him to play both sports, Tim, and that had a big bearing on it. And he boiled it down to 2 fine teams, but I think he I'm pleased with his pick because it stays in the state, and I know he made his teammate Chris Slade real happy.
No question about that, and I echo your sentiments. I had the pleasure of seeing Kirby play, as I hope some of you did, in the opening game of the season. We were able to bring you that Hampton Tabb game, probably one of the most exciting games I've seen in quite some time, except for perhaps a state championship type game, which Hampton was involved with and won. But that game was certainly noteworthy, and it was a pleasure to see a person who I think will go on to greatness in college, and that's Terry Kirby, and our congratulations to him. You know, as you talk about his basketball, I mean, his football prowess, I mean, the man is obviously a phenomenal football player, but he's no slouch when it comes to basketball.
Oh, no way. I'm sure you got the points there, Tim.
Yeah, he's got 2,077 career points in basketball. He's just a great athlete, and our very best to Terry Kirby, and we congratulate him on the great seasons that he's had in the past and look forward to great ones in the future. 5.5 minutes to go here in the first half.
Well, he's got you know, the young man understands that football and basketball can't be something you're going to play your whole life, and he's very interested in the academics, and he's a fine student, and that really says a lot for him, and I'm glad to see him go to UVA because he'll get a fine education. But he's got 2 fine coaching staffs up there, and Terry Holland's group and Walsh's group. They both will look after the interests of that young man. And his mother doesn't like to fly, so they can drive up and see all the ball games, and I know that makes her happy too.
And now Hampton is going to call a timeout with the score 20-11. We're going to watch a replay of some of the action.
This was that last long pass that the Rams converted on.
It was Kim Martin on the receiving end, and that was her second basket of the ball game. 5:12 remains here in the first half. There you see the score. I understand we have all of our crew back with us tonight. We have Dr. Sam is back from Dallas, and Slow-Mo Joe is back from New Orleans.
Tim, you went down there and had all that. Go ahead, AG.
Tim, didn't mean to interrupt, but we got Walter here, Brower, before he leaves. Walter, big game tonight. If you win it, this will be your first outright district championship. Your thoughts going into this big game tonight?
Well, the game means so much to us because, you know, we worked so hard and gotten this far, and we don't want to lose a ball game and end up having a playoff.
Everybody healthy?
Everybody's fine right now.
All right, it takes a little pressure off of you going into the playoffs if you win that outright district championship.
Yeah, we get the automatic berth in the district, and we get to play on this side of the water, which means a lot.
Okay, good luck to you tonight, Walter.
Thank you.
And that is a big release of pressure if you win the regular season. And again, you get to play on this side of the water. Again, I know, hate to travel, and if you can play at a site that you're familiar with, whether it's Hampton University or another site, if you're familiar with it, it makes it easier for the kids to adjust too.
Is that how that's going to work now? That Hampton, as if they win the game tonight, they will be in the regionals, and the game is being played. The regional playoffs are at Hampton University this year?
I don't know.
Oh.
I'm just going by what he said.
Yeah, he did say something about that. Maybe AG can ask him, AG, if you get an opportunity to kind of clarify that for us, because we're unclear as to where the first action of the regionals will be involved.
Okay, Walter, where will the regionals be playing? Where will we be playing to get those games?
Probably at Ferguson High School. That's the neutral site, and that's where we had it last year. So I expect the same site this year.
Okay, probably Ferguson High School then.
But the regionals will be on the peninsula regardless of where they may end up. Is that right?
That's correct. They will be over here on the peninsula.
Okay.
Well, that's nice for us to know. We don't have to do any traveling.
I love to travel.
You do?
Sam gives us that big per diem. We get,
I remember one time we went up to, well, you used all your per diem because you saw this guy with a bubblegum machine on the top of his car.
Ooh, I used all my per diem. I used my $20 meal money for the week. And then some. I got to pay the state a little money because I forgot to watch my speed. I do recall that. That was an expensive little venture.
Oh, that's when you had that hot little car, too.
Right. Notice I don't drive that hot little car anymore. 4:40 left here in the first half, 22-11. An 11-point lead for Lafayette. They've done a lot of their damage at the free throw line tonight. In fact, 10 of their 22 points have come at the charity stripe. Another opportunity missed there. Back come the Crabbers with a lot of new faces in the lineup.
Yeah, we picked those up. Number 10 for the Crabbers is Michelle Gore. She's new in there. Number 54, Letitia Lee is in, and looks like that's the only new ones.
Well, actually, what I was referring to, I guess, as much as anything, was from the starters.
Oh, absolutely.
And also in there is Vivian Moss, who did not start the game. So they're going with Cheyenne Hill and
Anisha Jones is the only two that are starters.
That's right. 22-11, 3:49 to go. Ball knocked away and momentarily tie up. It is a tie up, and the ball will belong to the Hampton Crabbers. If you are to believe the arrow of possession is pointing to the basket that is being played versus the team.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be pointing towards the basket. The other night we had a little mix-up on that.
Ball belongs to the Lady Crabbers nonetheless, and they're just about, well, were they? Yeah, they will say they were just about too much time taken to get the ball in bounds, and in fact, Ed Freeman indicates by the blowing of his whistle that that is in fact the case.
Well, the way it used to be that when the official got to 4, he usually blew the whistle. But now he's got to get to 5 before he blows the whistle, because you got 5 seconds till it has to touch somebody, not before it leaves your hands. So they're actually allowing him one more second than the old rule.
Whistle before the shot, a 3-second violation against Lafayette. Someone in the paint too long, and the turnover gives the ball back to the Crabbers. Vivian Moss will throw it down the length of the court to Michelle Gore. She traveled before she passed. Had a good idea.
But that was took the words right out of my mouth. That was an excellent idea. She got the ball. She was passing it to the gal that was making a break for the layup, and she just took a little shuffle step before she threw the ball. And Ed Freeman was right on the money there.
Lafayette with the ball again, still leading by 11. They pass it underneath to Teresa Tabb, who gets her second basket of the game. She's got 6 points, and now it's a 13-point lead for Lafayette. Another new face in there for Hampton. And the ball thrown away again. Letitia Lee didn't see the pass coming. Michelle Gore gets back, and she fouls Tony Jackson. Tony Jackson has been hurting the Crabbers at the free throw line. She is 6 out of 8 from that place.
You shoot 75% from the foul line. That is nothing to be ashamed of. That's a good percentage. I know Jim Boeheim up Syracuse would love that. That 4 team is shooting about 69% or less as a team. They are really struggling from the foul line up Syracuse this year.
The replay you saw just a moment ago was not the foul that just occurred. That was a little further back. Slow-Mo Joe is still on New Orleans time, I think.
That's right. He is an hour behind us, behind us.
Toni Jackson continues her success. Now she's 8 out of 10 from the free throw line. She's got 8 points, all of them from the charity stripe. Again, that full court pressure giving the Crabbers a real headache. Alyssa Jones back in the ball game. And picked off again. It's a 2 on, make that 3 on none. Toni Jackson gets her first points from the floor, and she's got 10 points. And her team leads by 17 as they're starting to pull away from Hampton here. Kim Martin knocks it back out of bounds. Hampton getting a little frustrated because they're really having a tough time against the sticky man-to-man defense.
They really are. They can't get in any kind of offensive sets or any offensive patterns at all.
They get a break there as the ball was tipped ever so slightly by one of the Lafayette players, says Betty Lewis.
Well, I missed it.
I did too. Tara Jimerson shook her head to say, I didn't touch it, did you? Inbounds pass, put up, and a foul.
And that's the 15th foul on the Rams with only 2:30 to go in the first half. But it's a shooting foul anyway. It was a 2-shot foul. But now every time the Hampton Crabbers are fouled, it'll be a 1-on-1 situation.
Letitia Lee at the free throw line. She was fouled by Teresa Tabb. That was her second personal foul. That's the 5th team foul against Lafayette, as you said. And Letitia Lee's line drive shot is no good. She'll get a second try. Hampton having severe problems putting points on the board here in the first half. They've only added 3 points here in the second quarter, and they've done that in a little more than 5.5 minutes. 3 points every 5.5 minutes won't win you very many ball games. Her second shot rolls off the rim, but then
nice rebound.
That was Cheyenne Hill, I do believe, that got the rebound and the putback. That's 5 points for Hill, and it's a 15-point lead for Lafayette. Again, Lafayette spreads it out. Contact, no foul called. I'm not sure why, but it certainly was.
I knew there was a whistle going to be blown, weren't you?
There was definitely somebody made contact.
Incidental. I was talking to Danny Mitchell earlier tonight, and he was talking about the officials. And like most coaches, you have your complaints, whether it's a baseball umpire, or a basketball official, or a official in football. But I watched the Ohio State-Iowa basketball game last night on ESPN, and it was like a parade to the foul line. And normally in Big Ten, there's a lot of contact, very physical game. But, boy, they called that thing tight last night. But my team, Iowa, ended up winning, so that made me happy.
Cheyenne Hill has the second one rim the basket and come out. She's got 6 points. And her team, again, has the score doubled, 28-14. Hampton on the wrong end of the score, and then a foul inside. This one again charged to Hampton. This is Letitia Lee, and that is her first personal foul. 1:51 left here in the first half, 28-14, as the parade to the free throw line continues for Lafayette. Tara Jimerson looking for her first point of the night. And she gets an air ball thrown up, so she'll get a second try nonetheless. And she's successful on the second one, so she gets her name in the scorebook. And it's 29-14 Lafayette with 1:50 remaining in the first half. Game being played at Hampton High School on Valentine's night. And a foul inside.
I think he's calling it against number 22.
Of Hampton, that would be Karen Valentine, an appropriate name on such an occasion.
Well, happy Valentine, Karen.
My golly.
But that's not what you want to do. She went and set a screen, and in setting the screen, as you'll see on this instant replay, maybe we'll be able to catch it, but you can see number 22 running over there, and she just knocks the gal down. And that's not, you're not supposed to do that.
That's called a moving pick, I believe. At the free throw line, Tara Jimerson, who was there moments ago, but she won't get a second free throw, but she does in fact get the rebound, and her team gets it back. They again spread it out. This is Jackson, drives, puts it up off the glass, no good, and yet another foul. There you see Scotty Bauer.
Bauer is up on a camera. How did he get all the way up there?
Man has no limit to his talents. That is our director slash cameraman slash
slow-mo man
from last week slash do it all, Mr. Scotty Bauer. Again at the free throw line, Tony Jackson. And she misses this one. First time in 6 attempts that she has not hit it. She was on a streak of 6 straight. She has 10 points for the first half. And she's back in the groove with the second one. She's got 11 points now. She is 9 out of 12 from the free throw line. 30-14, a 16-point Lafayette lead. Hampton again laboring against that full court pressure. And again, the turnover. It's a 3-on-1. Drive to the hoop, put it up, no good, but the rebound and put back by Tara Jimerson. And then the ball gets loose. The whistle blows, stopping the clock with 1:15. There you see the score, 32-14. Lafayette has totally dominated Hampton here in the first half. Betty Lewis will give the ball to Hampton. Bounce comes to Michelle Gore, and she promptly loses it to her like number 10 for Lafayette, Tanya Jackson, and then it's put in by Seiko Russell. That is her third basket. She's got 6 points, and it's a 20-point lead. Anissa Jones gets her first bucket of the ball game, and it's 34-16 as the pace picks up. Some new faces in there. This is Sarah Spangler for Lafayette, just off the bench. Not exactly sure where she was supposed to be or what she was supposed to do, but her teammate Jimerson knows what to do. She banks it in.
Takes that ball right down the lane, and well, there was a walk that time. I don't think the official caught it.
Almost had another one. Inside the pass is tipped out of bounds. Last touch by, well, now they're going to say last touch by Lafayette. Thought it was touched by Hampton.
Well, I did too. At halftime, AG is going to talk to David Blizzard, which is in 14 seconds. The successful coach of the JV's team here at Hampton. They won the preliminary contest. The preliminary contest, I guess.
Of course, Blizzard can take credit for the success of the varsity because he keeps bringing up these players and developing them into good players. The time runs out as Hampton was not aware of the amount of time remaining. They did not try to get a shot off. At halftime, it is 36-16. And AG, I understand you have Coach Blizzard.
Yeah, Tim, Bob, we do. We got Coach Blizzard and some of his players here. Coach, 13-3, you ended the season tonight. Big season. Your thoughts thinking back on it?
Yeah, well, hey, the guys, they stuck in there. We started off a little slow in the beginning and lost a couple of games. And then, in fact, the last 10 games in a row, hey, we beat everybody in the district pretty convincingly.
All right. Who's this young man?
My name is Tarek Cassels.
All right, Tarek, what about tonight's game against Lafayette? What was the game plan? What went well for you?
We had a good practice all week, and we had to execute very well and everything. And I feel everybody did their part. You know.
Looking forward to next year on the varsity?
Yes, sir.
All right, who's this young man next to you?
David Blizzard.
All right, David, great season for you. A lot of scoring. Your thoughts on the season? You had to be pleased with it.
Yeah. Well, I knew I had to go out and score and rebound for us to win.
and we just did it.
David, I think the season's over now, but are you going to be moving up to the varsity here to help them?
Yeah, that's if I get a chance to get in the game.
All right, good luck to you. And who's this young man next to you?
10th grader Keith Hookstride.
All right, Keith, what about Lafayette, the big win tonight?
Well, we just went out since it was the 10th grader's last game for on JV. He decided to start all 10th graders, and he just went from there to see how the game would turn out.
You going to play on varsity next year?
Try out.
Okay. All right, Coach, 13-3. If Warwick, depending on what Warwick does, you guys could win the thing outright.
Well, we couldn't win it outright. We could end up in a tie, co-champions for the district. And the guys, we talked about that over and over all year. If we had done a few little things, we could have easily been undefeated. And they learned a lesson from this, and we had an excellent season.
David, great season. Congratulations to all you guys. Good luck next year.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Tim, Bob.
All right, AG, Coach Blizzard, thank you, and our congratulations to your team as well. The young men on the JV team looking forward to an opportunity to move up to the varsity next season. At halftime, our score, Lafayette girls team 36, the Hampton girls team 16. Will return with second half action, but first let's take a brief timeout. Back at Hampton High School, there you see the halftime score, 36-13. Lafayette, and the Lafayette girls team is back on the court. As of yet, the Hampton team has not reappeared. I'm sure Ivory Knight as she and Art Jones have had more than a few kind words for the girls team to try and hopefully overcome this press. The defense of Lafayette has been the biggest factor here in the first half, wouldn't you say?
Tim, 90% of the Lafayette's points have come from their defense. And this is one thing you try to teach young people when they're playing basketball, is not necessarily your shooting ability that will get you a lot of points, but it's your defense. If you can play good defense, then you're going to get a lot of crippy shots, a lot of inside shots, because you steal the ball underneath your basket, you put it back up, you get fouled, you put on a foul line. And right now, the Lady Crabbers just cannot get that ball across half court.
And they have committed far too many fouls. They have really hurt themselves with their fouling, because they find three players, Cheyenne Hill, Adrena Whitehead, and Ramona Gray, three very intricate parts of their team, saddled with three personal fouls here as we begin the second half. Just to recap quickly the scoring, Tony Jackson led all scorers with 11 points, and 9 of those 11 points came from the free throw line. She was 9 out of 12 from the free throw line. 6 points for Russell, her teammate, 5 for Jimerson, and 6 for Tab for Lafayette. Hampton was paced by Cheyenne Hill with 6 points, and no one else had more than 4. That was Adrena Whitehead, and then 2 points each for Nissa Jones, Vivian Moss, and Ramona Gray. And Hampton throws the ball away on the first possession of the second half. 3 of the players for Hampton with those foul problems are in the ball game.
Well, you got to do something. Down 20 points, you can't keep your people on the bench. You got to get them in there and try to get something to happen. And Hampton playing a man-to-man, and Lafayette is set up in a 1-2-2 offense, and they're just moving the ball around, and Hampton's trying to double it when they get a chance to. And Lafayette doesn't seem to be bothered by any of the pressure that's being put on by the Crabbers.
Defense gets the ball back for Hampton. This is Anissa Jones. She's guarded by Tanya Jackson. 36-16. Just underway. If you joined us late, we're coming to you on a game played Valentine's night at Hampton High School. This is Tim Cole along with Bob Hintz and our roving reporter A.G. Womble. 8-minute quarters in high school basketball. We have 6:50 left here in the third quarter.
And sitting right behind us is Glenn Russell, former Crabber coach and coach up at Lafayette, coach at CNC, and all-around knowledgeable basketball fan. Asked him if we could talk to him during the halftime boys game. He said, no, I'm going to be out in the car listening to the Carolina game.
Talking with Tony Anthony, a longtime reporter, and I believe he's an associate editor at the Daily Press now, sports editor. Three-point shot, good. So Ramona Gray lights up the three-point shot.
That'll help your cause to get back into the flow of the game, that's for sure.
Cheyenne Hill gets it underneath. I believe that was 34 Gray that got that.
No, I'm
was
sorry,
32?
Tim, it was 32 got
32,
the basket.
that's
yeah.
right. I got a little excited there and gave it to the wrong person. That was Vivian Moss who got the three-pointer.
And
32.
she's the one that made the three-pointers and attempted. She's the only one, in fact, with the Lady Crabbers that even attempts a three-pointer that I know of.
Yeah, so let's give credit where it's due now. Vivian Moss was the three-point shooter for the Lady Crabbers. 38-19. Again, Lafayette has doubled the score. This is Moss inbounding. She throws a baseball pass down to Anissa Jones, and she can't hold on to it. So the passing for the Crabbers has just not clicked tonight. And the ball goes back to Lafayette.
There was a mean pick set in there that time by number 12.
And we have over and back as the ball goes back across the timeline. Lafayette caused that to happen, and they'll turn it back over to the Crabbers.
And they're still having trouble getting the ball in, but that time they got a nice pass. Nice pass.
And again, Moss connects for the Crabbers.
She got a nice feed that time from Ramona Gray.
Blocking foul charge to Anissa Jones. That's her first. Player control foul as the team has only been charged with one foul. Twelve personal fouls called against Hampton in the first half. Baseline jumper is no good. Rebound comes off to Cheyenne Hill. Hampton gave Lafayette the bonus with 3 minutes to go in the first quarter, so that was a downfall of Hampton as much as anything.
It sure was, and the Hampton Crabbers are starting to play with a little more confidence now than they had that first half.
Tony Jackson charged with her second personal foul for Lafayette. Player control foul, one team foul for each team. Anissa Jones just gets it in. She gets it to Gray. Her shot is too strong, and then she knocks it out of the hands of her teammate. One of those things that just happens.
She just was following through with her shot and ran right into Whitehead and knocked the ball out of bounds. Hampton should have ended up with 2 points that time.
38-21, Lafayette. Turnaround jumper is good. So Tara Jimerson doesn't shoot a lot, but she does know what to do when she gets the ball. And we have a baseline violation in the efforts to get it down court. Vivian Moss stepped on the end line. Give it back over to Lafayette. 4:13 to go here in the third quarter. Inside for Jimerson, it doesn't go. And it's chased down by Tony Jackson. Turnaround jumper, no good. Teresa Tabb puts it up. She's fouled, and that'll be the fourth on Audrina Whitehead.
And I know Whitehead's got to be really upset. She stood there with her hands in the air. The gal jumped into her, and they called a foul on her. You've got what is called the right of verticality, that offensive player may not run into you or jump into you. If you're a defense, you are entitled to your spot, and that's what she did that time. But most of the time, the officials will call that on the defense, and even though it isn't.
Teresa Tabb with 2 shots. She gets the first. She's perfect from the free throw line now. 3 for 3. You know that the play you're talking about is exactly correct when you don't move at all. But if the official denotes any movement on the defender's part to lean forward a little bit, that's where the call is made sometimes. It's a tough call. It's very similar to the offensive charge or the block, whichever you want to look at.
You're exactly right.
Cheyenne Hill with a bucket.
But even if you're moving some, you have the right. Who initiates the contact, I think, is what they need to go by. And if the offensive person initiates the contact, then it's got to be an offensive foul.
Inside pass is picked off by Vivian Moss. Crabbers trailing 41-23. They spot Cheyenne Hill underneath, and she's fouled. This one is going to be called against Seiko Russell. That is her second. And the team's second.
And that's one of the very few times the Crabbers have been allowed to get to the foul line during this game.
Cheyenne Hill has been there for 3 tries, and she's made 2 of them. Make that 2 out of 4 now. She and Letitia Lee are the only Crabbers to have gone to the free throw line so far in the ball game. Hill is 2 out of 4, and she has 8 points. She gets the second, giving her 9, and her team trails 41-24.
Well, Hampton's playing man-to-man, but they're not picking them up until they get to half court.
Fired up. Rebound comes off for Hill. And Hill says, I can't find anybody. I'll bring it down the court. It's knocked away and stolen. And then stolen back by Ramona Gray. That's the defense we saw her exhibit last week. This is Moss for 3.
She knew what she was going to do when she got that ball and shoot that three-pointer.
10 points for Vivian Moss, 6 of them on 2 3-pointers. And it's 41-27. Hampton continues to slice away at that lead. 14-point Lafayette lead. Turnaround jumper, no good. Cheyenne Hill with another rebound. So the Crabbers playing much better here in the second half. Moss's blind pass goes out of bounds, and it belongs to Lafayette. Just as I say, they're doing better, they throw it out, but they are playing better. There's
yes,
no
they are definitely. They're playing with a little more confidence, and they're getting the ball down the court, at least across half-court line.
They've outscored Lafayette 11-5 here, but that changes very quickly.
But you can't let them get that inside right down there in the box. You've got to be able to keep them out of getting that ball within 2 or 3 feet of that basket.
Seiko Russell with the bucket. That gives her 10 points on the night.
3-pointer.
She likes that spot. She should.
I can tell you, I see her eye.
That's the same spot. She likes that spot.
Yes, she does.
And it's a 13-point difference, so Hampton is not out of this game. Looked like for a while they might be. They trailed by 20 at half, but it's been cut down to 13. And then we've got, unfortunately for Hampton, a blocking foul to be charged against Ramona Gray. That'll be number 4. So Gray had pretty good possession, but she didn't have her feet set, and that's why the call goes against her. It's a player control foul, no shot involved. But the important aspect is that is 4 fouls on Miss Gray, and she'll come out of the ball game. Sandra Thompson, number 14, will check in. That's she guarding the inbounds pass. Jumper put up, and a foul is going to be called against Vivian Moss, and that will be her first. She hammered the Lafayette player just as she released the shot. And that player is Tara Jimerson, who will go to the free throw line. She is 1 for 3 from the charity stripe so far. She'll have 2 shots. Minute 35 remaining here in the third quarter. Jimerson gets the roll. That's 8 points in the ball game now for Tara Jimerson. Make that 9 as she completes the second free throw, and it's 45-30, 15-point lead. Nissa Jones has it stolen.
Just reached and took it right away from her.
Tanya Jackson completes the steal with a bucket. Back to a 17-point difference, and now the Crabbers again turn it over. So the Crabbers got a little excited there, and it's cost them 4 points, and it might cost them more here. Aggressive rebounding by Tony Jackson as she put the shot up. Didn't go, but she got her own board. She dribbles with her left hand. Now she holds up and kicks it back. This is Tanya Jackson. Inside for Jimerson. Jimerson's shot no good. And Cheyenne Hill with another rebound. She floats a pass up for Nissa Jones. A bad pass, but she got a break there as Lafayette knocked it out of bounds.
Well, the Hampton girls, they see the people open. They just can't execute on the passes. And the passes are kind of floating, like you said, and it gives the defense a chance to react and get over there and intercept it.
Hampton gets the inbounds pass. This is Hill, guarded by Russell. Spots Vivian Moss. That's about the spot she likes to shoot those three-pointers. Cheyenne Hill's shot is partially blocked, and back come the Rams. Half a minute to go here in the third quarter. Baseline, a foul, and that will be against Hampton.
And I believe that's number 32.
That's Vivian Moss. That's her second.
And it also puts the Rams in the penalty. Any shot is any foul made. The rest of this ball game, we got 30 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Tony Jackson will be shooting 2. And she misses for the 4th time in 13 tries. For those of you counting on your fingers, that's 9 good ones. Make that 10.
But how did you know I was doing that?
48-30, 18-point Lafayette lead. Bartle knocked out of bounds. And it'll belong to the Crabbers right here at our broadcast position. Playing a little kickball right here. .28 seconds remaining. Again, the Crabbers having some difficulty. They do get it in just in time. From deep in the corner, three-point try is no good. Put off the glass, no good. Hill had it for a moment, and then traveling will be the call against Vivian Moss as she was trying to decide what to do with it, and in doing so, she shuffled her feet. 15 seconds, 48-30. Hampton had cut the lead down to 13, while Lafayette has stretched it back out to 18 now. A chance to make it 20 or more. Pass is picked off by Letitia Lee. She throws it down court. Her pass again is errant. With 1 second to go, it's good. A three-pointer fired at the buzzer. Tony Jackson breaks the back of the Crabbers. And AG, who you got across the way there?
We have Trish Mitchell, and she's the athletic director here at Hampton High School. Too far, too close. And Trish, this has been a fantastic year for the Crabber athletic teams, and I know that you're happy with that. And of course, being AD, you have to take pleasure in some of that. Tell us about it.
I take a great deal of pleasure in our kids being that successful. They work real hard. Our coaches work real hard. It's a real satisfaction to have state championship football team, and so we have a state championship cheerleading squad. We have a district basketball winner. We have a district basketball cheerleading squad.
Going on. Tennis did well, and the boys tennis is going to be good.
Boys tennis, girls cross country, girls indoor track. We're expecting big things with the baseball.
What does it take to be a good athletic director? Besides a lot of money.
No, well, y'all's money, a little bit more would be helpful. Just be willing to spend a great deal of time and care about what you're doing.
You're down here about 4 or 5 nights a week?
At least. I'm going to get a refrigerator and a microwave for my office.
All right, Trish, you're doing a great job. Congratulations on a great year in the athletic program.
Thank you, AG.
All right, Tim, Bob.
The ever-present Trish. We see her at all the Hampton games.
Yes, you will. She is the athletic director and does an excellent job. And like she says, I know she gets a lot of satisfaction out of it. Tim, she is here sometimes 4 nights a week during the week, and you're talking Friday nights, and if there's a Saturday game, she'll be here. You got your wrestling, your all this thing that's going on, and she supports them all, and of course she's here to make sure everything is going right. That's a tough job she's got.
You've got a whistle before any shot, a pushing foul. They're going to watch the three-point play here, way outside the three-point range. I mean, she had that thing nailed from 4 feet behind the line.
That could have been a three-pointer in the pros, Tim.
Yes, it could. And that three-pointer kind of broke the Crabbers back, if I can. And with that three-pointer, made it a 21-point lead after the Crabbers had gotten within 13 in the third quarter. But give Lafayette credit, they pulled away. Cheyenne Hill connects for Hampton. 11 points for Cheyenne Hill.
Well, they did a good job of running that fast break, just passing that ball to the open teammate.
9 points for Teresa Tabb as she got the good pass. This is Audrina Whitehead, and she puts it in for her 56 points. 53-34, Lafayette by 19. 7:13 to go in the fourth quarter. Hampton using full court pressure. Lafayette just blows right past them, but then they throw it out of bounds. Audrina Whitehead catches a finger in the eye on the play, just an accidental swinging of one of her teammates. Actually, I think she kind of swung her hand around and hit her in the eye.
Trouble now, boys.
You don't know, Tim, but you look behind you, you see Bob Croft, and he said we're in trouble now.
I saw him earlier. Had
Since baseball season last year.
53-36. Ask him where the hot dogs are. I saw him with a bag of food there, but I don't see anything for us. Lafayette gets it back. The Rams decide to slow it down a little bit, take their time. Teresa Tabb off the glass too strong, and Audrina, check that, Cheyenne Hill with the rebound.
If we can get AG over here with his mic, I'll let you use the mic and get some comments from you, Bobby.
Are you sure?
Here it is. You don't need a mic?
Cheyenne Hill chases it down.
You can talk right in that mic. No. Oh,
you are a glutton for punishment, aren't you?
I don't know why I do this, but Bobby's an old friend of mine, an athletic supporter of Hampton since he...
Are you calling me a jock?
He is an old jock, right, from Hampton High, and I was assistant principal over here. Tell us your feelings on this game, Bobby.
Wait a minute. Oh, he is. I thought you said when you were the assistant principal over here.
No.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified.
I went to this school. What are you talking about?
That's right.
I believe
Long
that.
time ago. First graduating class from this schoolhouse.
Letitia
I won't
Lee.
tell you when.
What'd you say, Bob? Did you fall? We didn't see you up at Todd Stadium this year for the championship
I couldn't
game.
get up the booth. They wouldn't let me up there.
Oh, it finally worked, Bob.
We've been trying and trying. They know who to lead keep out, don't they?
That's right. 5:50 to go. Bobby, if it wasn't one thing quite seriously, but seriously, folks, one of the things that I've noticed is that for years, and certainly this year is quite evident of that, is the winning spirit at Hampton. How much do you think that has to do with the fact that the Hampton football team won the state championship and now the Hampton Crabbers are leading the district boys team at least?
I tell you what, at the end of the football season, the guys that were playing basketball got together with the guys that just won the state championship in football, and they said they were going to do the best they could do to bring home a championship in basketball. And I tell you what, judging by the talent that I've seen on Coach Brower's squad, the talent and the quickness and the shooting ability, they've got an excellent opportunity. I tell you what, the region is where the story is going to be told.
Yeah,
Those Norfolk schools and the beach schools, they play tough basketball.
Well, Booker T. Washington's got a good team over the other side. I know that. But Bobby,
Deep Creek is good. Maury's good.
Remembering back when you was over to Pembroke, would you have liked to have the talent that Walter's got? I mean, the bench that he's got, besides what he put on the floor, that's got to be one of the things you dream about having. You got 2 or 3 real good ball players, but nothing that bench like he's
Bobby,
got.
When I was coaching, I would just like to have had one guy over 6'2" tall.
Yeah, that's true.
The 4 years that I coached over at Pembroke, the tallest kid I had was 6'2", and that was Wilbur Bivens. Of course, old Kenny Johnson and Larry Moore, they could sort of shoot the eyes out of the basket.
They could that. You had some shooters over there, but if you were like me, and when I was at Bethel, I had maybe 6 or 7 ball players I could count on. I couldn't go down the bench any further than that and not lose something.
Brower can go 9 or 10 guys and not weaken his floor strength at all. He wouldn't lose a thing going to his 10th man.
That's what that's the point I was trying to make, and that's got to really make you feel good when you're a coach to be able to look down the bench and see that you can do something like that.
Well, where that's extremely helpful is when it comes to fouls. You get a kid, you don't have anybody slowing down out there because they're getting foul trouble. You tell them go ahead, and if you get in foul trouble, we got somebody that can slide right on in there in your place and not lose any talent, ability, or no momentum.
Yeah, that makes a big difference. It really does.
If I could interrupt for just a minute while we've been chatting, which has been most amiable, Hampton has bitten back into this lead. They're back down only to a 12-point deficit. So.
And they started off at 21 down at the beginning of this the quarter, and here we can see a part of Anissa Jones on that replay and a nice bank shot off the glass.
So with 4 minutes and some change, Hampton's still not out of this, Bobby.
Well, I tell you, Lafayette girls, I went up there earlier in the season and watched them play. They have a talent-laden girls squad also. Of course, everybody knows Phoebus is strong, but Lafayette really has some real talented young ladies, and they look like they're very well coached, very well disciplined.
Yeah, they are very disciplined, and they work the ball. I was noticing we're on that four corner, which they're going into now. They do a good job on that thing. They don't force anything. They'll take the ball down the middle if it's open. If not, they pass it. And it's hard to double team and do much with it.
They've got ball handlers, they got shooters, and the young lady that I was so impressed with earlier in the season, she's not even in the game now. She's on the bench. I imagine if the game gets a whole lot closer, they could bring her back in the game.
Sabrina Whitehead taking a kind of a bad spill there on the rebound, and to add to her misery, she was called for traveling as a result of the fact she lost her footing. We might be able to see a replay of this. Could have had a foul charge to Sandra Thompson there. We're going to watch inside. It gets a little bit nasty in there. A lot of bodies being thrown around. Then you're going to see her go up for the rebound and come down hard. And I mean, she hit the back of her head, and then she was called for traveling to boot. So sometimes it doesn't pay to get up in the morning.
Bobby, I know you're here for a little color. Do you see, speaking of color, do you see Bowling Ball Billy sitting on the other side over there? Billy Wood sitting over there. He doesn't miss a basketball game. He doesn't miss a football game. He doesn't miss a baseball game. You know he played on the 1936 state championship football team, don't you?
Well, I knew he was on one of them. I wasn't sure of the year, but I talked to him every chance I get. He just had a knee operation.
Yeah.
But he's here at every contest that we've been at for the Hampton schools, especially the Hampton High School. You will see.
Every game. If we go to Northern Virginia, he's going to be up there.
Cheyenne Hill gets her 18th and 19th points of the ball game.
And we've got to cut down even what's it down to 12 now.
I think Bob was on that same 36 football team. Wasn't he, Bobby?
Bob and I,
he was the
Bobby
blocking
Croft and I were teammates. We were ball boys.
3 minutes to go in this one. 57-45. Lafayette has spread it out, then they throw it away. No, they say it was last touched by a crabber. Looked like it might have been just simply thrown out of bounds, but it was touched by a crabber.
And here comes your boss, Bobby. Lowell Thomas is coming in. Good shot of Lowell. We get him on camera. He's not camera shy.
Lafayette will inbounds. This is Jimerson all the way across the court. Kicks it back to Tony Jackson. Jackson with 15 points tonight, drives the lane and puts a little three-footer in, giving her 17 points on the night and a 14-point lead. That might have been the one that did it. Anissa Jones comes up a little short. And then it's...
I will say this, Bobby. Our girls are much improved over the past couple seasons.
Well, I was talking to Ivory Knight last Tuesday when we were here for the Denby game, and I told her, I said, you got to be real pleased, because I remember when Cheyenne Hill first came out of the team, she couldn't hardly catch the ball at all.
Yeah.
But this team has really improved over the last 2 years. She has done a real admirable job, and of course Art Jones helping her. It's got to be a real plus.
That's a real asset. Art's been a real asset to our entire basketball program. He does some scouting, and he follows the boys team real closely.
Ramona Gray, and she is fouled before she can shoot, I do believe. That one's going to be charged against Seco Russell. That'll be her third. Bobby, I'm sorry, I may not know this, or I'm assuming something. Is there a JV girls team, or do you not have enough participation?
City of Hampton does not have junior varsity girls. Newport News has JV girls with all of their schools. Lafayette also, but City of Hampton has not yet adopted junior varsity programs for girls basketball. Probably the only school that could probably support a team, a JV team, would be Phoebus in Hampton. They've got an excellent program over there for the young ladies. But
is it a matter of
funding?
Is that what it is? A matter of money?
Well, money does have a great deal to do with it.
Or is it just a lack of enough participants to make it worthwhile? Is that also?
Well, we've got, if you look at the size of our girls squad, it's not even a full complement. I guess we got 12 or 13 girls over there.
So it would look like you have
I don't think we have enough interest to run 2 full programs.
Well, this is one thing that Mike McCormick over Kickingham really complains about, and he says his assistant coach does get a supplement, so you're not talking more money for coaching, but you would be talking money for buses and the officials, and that there would be an additional cost into it. But he says this year his team is just about a JV squad if you take away Dawn Paps and one other girl that has got some varsity experience. All the rest of them are JVs.
Well, that's true. I think if we had the interest generated, and if we had enough people involved, I think we could bring in a junior varsity program. But I just don't think we're there yet, Bobby.
Well, not only that, you got a problem with space too. Where do you play? You know, you can't.
Well, we start at 4:30 now.
Yeah, that's what I said. You're going to have to start the other game at 3, or maybe play opposite sites or something of that nature. I don't know.
Well, other parts of the state plays fall girls basketball.
Right. What are your feelings on that?
What'd you say?
Well, the reason I asked you is because I was talking to Mike McCormick.
Ask me what, Bobby? What'd you ask me? How do I feel
what
about
is your feelings about fall basketball for girls?
When you get as old as Bobby, your train of thought loses its track.
Should I say a little louder? I forget that you don't hear what I hear.
Bobby, very honestly, I think and I'll be honest with you, if girls basketball continues to grow, we'll probably have to consider sometime down the road going to fall program for the girls.
Well, you have a gym that's virtually not being used at all during the fall. So, it would seem that would be a good thing to do. And this was Mike McCormick's reasoning. He says, you got the gym, why not use it? And then you wouldn't have the problem with the girls and the boys and trying to shuffle their practice, because you can take the JV boys and sometimes use them with the varsity boys.
That's correct. If we could get competitive, if our girls basketball programs could really get competitive in the region, we could even see it as a potential revenue source.
Right.
We can have a fall season as well with the girls, as well as having the junior varsity boys and the varsity boys running throughout the winter. There's potential there for some revenue.
Inside of a minute to go
if
in this
junior varsity girls comes on to be a reality in the City of Hampton schools, I could see fall basketball for girls somewhere down the line. Probably not too far in the distant future.
Well, that sounds good.
Starting to say there's inside of a minute to go now, and we're going to have an intentional foul charged against the Crabbers.
Oh, that not only gives them a 2-shot foul, Tim, but gets the ball out of bounds also.
Tony Jackson, who has hit 10 out of 13 from the free throw line, make that 11 out of 14.
With that intentional foul, you just need to be a little bit more subtle about it. That one's sort of obvious.
And Tony Jackson is 0 for 2 at this trip to the free throw line, but she's got 19 points for the game, and she's certainly instrumental. AG, did you have a question you wanted to ask Bobby?
Yeah, I did, Tim. I wanted to ask Bob. He did some coaching, and I wanted to ask Bob Croft how it was to coach against Bob Hitz.
He beat me every time.
It was a real pleasure. It was a real pleasure about coaching against Bob Hitz. No, Bob, I didn't beat you every time. We had a real close game over there. You had Tico Winder.
Oh, yeah.
And you beat us in right down to the wire one night, and you kids played an excellent game. So did ours. I'm just glad the sportsmanship was what it was back then. We had a good time coaching.
We enjoyed coaching against each other, AG. It's one of those things that we can now sit back and really blow it out of proportion if we wanted to.
You mean you weren't very friendly about it at the time?
Oh, no. Well, Bobby and I have always been friends. You know, he did his student teaching over at Sims when I was coaching over there. So I remember Bobby back.
Is that what you were doing? I always saw you in the teacher's lounge.
Well, that's what you do when you got a student teacher, right? You tell them, you do it.
You weren't my supervising teacher.
Oh, I wasn't?
No.
Oh, gee, no wonder I had problems with my class that year.
You saw the tail end of a obvious intentional
It was a lot of
foul.
fun back there, Bobby. Kids seem to really love the sport, and they would tend to sacrifice a little bit more then than I think they're willing to do now.
Well, not only that, but I also you've noticed that the crowds, and I don't know if it was because we were coaching, but back then there seemed to be more of a following for basketball in all the schools, not just in ours. But you kick
Bobby,
it
it was your personality they were following.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it was. No, you're right. We used to pack the gyms.
You guys just jump in here and let me, don't worry about me here.
Anytime you want to say something, Tim, just go ahead.
I've been trying for about 2 minutes.
Excuse me.
It's quite all right. Bobby, why don't you go ahead and finish the play-by-play for us here? We got 17 seconds left. What would you do if you were coaching now? Head for home? 63-45. Hampton is going to...
I'd call a timeout. I'm not sure the game's out of reach.
That never say die attitude. I like that. Cheyenne Hill has led her team tonight with 19 points, but unfortunately it's going to come up a little short as her team now trails by 19. This is a two-way to look at that. She could have lost by 38 if Cheyenne hadn't shown up. 2 for 2 for the free throw line for Tony Jackson. And she's got 21 points now. 17 seconds remaining. 65-45. Hampton's record will even itself out at 8-8 in the district, and it'll be 9-10 overall. And we'll see Lafayette advance to 11-5 in the district, 12-9 overall. 3 seconds to go.
Well, Bobby, the game's about over. Got 4 seconds left here. I appreciate you allowing me to come over and have a few words with you.
Well, we enjoy talking with you. It's always nice to see you when I come over to Hampton High School. And Buck Tillery said the next time I saw you to make sure I said hi to you.
Oh, Buck Tillery. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Most of the time it was in vain. Thanks again, Bobby. I'll see you during the varsity game.
Okay, Bob.
Varsity boys.
Thanks for joining us, Bobby. Bobby Croft, the assistant principal here at Hampton High School. Always a pleasure to have a chance to talk to Bobby. Cheyenne Hill now with 20 points. And make that 21 as Cheyenne hits both of the free throws. 21 points for Cheyenne Hill. And that's going to about do it. 1 second, the buzzer sounds. And the game is over with as the Lafayette girls suffer a slight scare. Stay tuned, if you will, because A.G. Womble is going to find his way across the court and have a chance to talk to some of the girls from Hampton, I understand. We'll talk with Cheyenne Hill and Ivory Knight and talk about things to come in the future for the Hampton Crabbers. Of course, they are going to be involved in postseason play. And AG is trying to get up with a couple of those people. We're showing you some of the final play of the ball game. And you saw that was that foul that happened a little earlier there where I believe that was Vivian Moss just kind of said, I've had enough of this. She helped the Lafayette player out of bounds there.
You were a little, and there's AG with Ivory Knight. Go ahead, AG.
All right, Bob, Tim, we do have Ivory Knight and Cheyenne Hill. Ivory, disappointing loss. There was a little run there when you were down 21, got it back to about 10 or 11. We thought things were working there. What was going on then?
I think the girls regrouped, and they felt that they had a chance to come back, in which they did show, but somehow they got into a little fouling trouble, and that sort of put them on the line and sort of built the score back up.
All right, hold on a second. Cheyenne, 21 points tonight in a losing effort. Great on your part.
Thank you. We went out in the first half. We didn't have it. Second half, we tried to make a run, but we was too far down. We couldn't come back. We tried.
Cheyenne, what about the tournament coming up? Your thoughts going into that?
I think we have a good chance. We just got to go out Friday and just win our first game and try to get the HU and then take it.
All right, Coach, who y'all matched up against? Do you know yet?
Lafayette again.
Okay, what are you going to do different?
or we're going to come back with our defense at the start of the game. That's what really hurt us. We were cold in our defense, and I think if we come back with that, we should do well.
Good luck. Good luck, Cheyenne.
Thank you, AG. Thank you, Ivory Knight, head coach for the ladies team here at Hampton High School, and Cheyenne Hill, who had an outstanding ball game in a losing cause. Vivian Moss also had a good game for the Lady Crabbers. She ended up with 3 3-pointers and a total of 13 points on the night. 6 points for Adrena Whitehead, 4 for Anissa Jones, and 1 for Letitia Lee. And the Hampton Crabbers end up on the wrong end of a 65-47 score here at Hampton High School. For Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble, this is Tim Cole, thanking you again for watching. Good night, everybody.